Welcome everybody to the Board Foundation Subcommittee meeting. It's January 13th, 2022. We are being live streamed. If we could have a call to order and roll call.
Member Cornett?
Here.
Member Gauthier?
Here.
Member Bush?
Here.
Foundation Director Goodman?
I'm here.
Superintendent Sweezy?
Here.
And Member Girardi is absent.
Okay. Number two, if we could have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
And I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion passes. Are there any public comments?
We have not received any public comments.
Thank you. Okay, we're all the way down to number 4 for a foundation update. And Ellen, would you like to begin with that?
Yes, thank you. And then I'll pass it to Mark and to Kathy. So I'll start with our December highlights. We spent the entire month of December with our year-end giving, and some of those highlights, we had a few events. We were the recipients of a fundraiser at the Roost in Cathedral City, and there was a performance by Keisha D. We were presented with a contribution of $30,000 from the Roost, and $5,000 of that was a match the day of or the night of at the event from the Western Wind Foundation. That money does go to the Keisha D Scholarship Fund. Then we had the Mtu Film Premiere. We had 250 people at the event. It was in a theater of about 500 seats, so people were spaced out and comfortable. It was really a wonderful night. The kids and the family members and siblings and supporters and popcorn and sodas and photography, and it was really great. Everybody did a great job. And then we collaborated with the Family Engagement Center for a toy distribution, and that was on December 18th. And 54 families, so each school gave lists of names to the Family Engagement Center, and then the families showed up, and we had Santa, and we had photographs, and there were stations, activity stations. I would say it was a really fun Saturday. It was just super great. We did a soft launch in December of the shoe campaign. We had called it Shoes and Smiles during December. It was the last 2 weeks of December, and it was a soft launch just to see what kind of activity and interest we might get. This started with a conversation with Student Services when we were talking about toy distribution. And what we found out was really during January and June, our students really don't get much attention and they don't get many items from the community. Back to school and Christmas seems to be the biggest time of the year. And what we were told were students really needed shoes. And I even had a conversation yesterday, and there are 2 families who called Student Services who were displaced due to a water break. And the one thing that they needed were shoes. So we did this soft launch. It was all on social media. The last 2 weeks of December, we raised $5,500 from 30 donors. And so the family that is behind the desire to get our students shoes is the Fogelson Family Foundation. And I've been working very closely with Jerry and B. Keats. And the Fogelson Family Foundation is pledging $25,000 so that we can run a campaign that is a dollar for dollar match, with the hopes that by February we'll have $50,000 where we can get shoes for our kids. I'm working with Lisa Todd in Student Services and her team to identify those families at the district and then organize a distribution event in March. So you'll see some visibility in the Desert Sun, and you'll see it on social media as well. And then this month, our first 2 weeks of the month, we've been knee deep in on audit. And so we're getting all of our materials to our auditor. So all the backup documentation, you know what that's like. We're almost finished with that, and we expect the audit to be completed in February, which is right, before they bury themselves into tax season. Let's see. We have Again, like I said, we had the soft launch for the shoes in December. We will kick off a much harder campaign, a full-fledged campaign at the end of this month for the shoes. And so you'll see that coming. Also this month, we're continuing with the wellness centers, and Painted Hills Middle School is the next school slated, and materials have already been purchased and have arrived on campus, and I'll be there next week. And then we'll start to have our team assemble everything and put that together. Just to give you an update on the wellness centers, the foundation did fund the first 2 centers to open, and we have raised money for 7 additional centers. So we've raised $175,000 to outfit those remaining 7 schools for this year. We're submitting this week, it's actually due on Monday, a proposal with the Inland Empire Community Foundation. It's a DEI proposal, and we are requesting $12,000, and this is for our board expansion and growth, and how we'll be using those dollars for training, for creating a manual for onboarding, and for recruitment events. I will say that we are crunching our numbers from July to December. So we have our numbers for our January presentation to the school board. Very roughly and just vaguely, it looks like we will top off at about $400,000 for the first 6 months of the year that we've raised. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. That's what I have. I know Kathy wasn't at our last board meeting. And so I'll just pass it to Mark first and then to Kathy. Mark, anything that you can add?
Thanks, Ellen. You know, our last board meeting was actually on the same day as our last subcommittee meeting. So we actually haven't gotten our board together since our last talk, but Ellen and I did get together after the first, and we had a wonderful one-on-one. We're planning the spring around an outreach mailing for our sponsor a student support of the Smart Mentoring program. We really want to start monetizing that program, but we don't want it to cannibalize either the shoe effort or the alumni effort, which is coming in April. So we have a busy spring, and we want to be careful about not asking the same people for too much. But as Ellen said, we're very pleased at our performance in the first half of the year. Or the first few months of the year, and we feel very confident that we're on track to comfortably meet our obligation of what we plan to raise this year. We're very focused right now on the board, as Ellen said, and we have a short list of about 7 folks that we're talking to, having coffee with, inviting to our board meetings, hoping to expand our board both with people who can help us write checks and who can help us diversify among many different lines. So it's all good, and on behalf of the board, we're pleased to be doing this work.
Thank you. And you know, Mark, I want to add, you mentioned SMART. I did leave that out. My apologies. On Wednesday, SMART kicked off our 3rd cohort. And so we worked with our juniors. They were selected through interview process. We were at Desert Hot Springs High School. It was a wonderful morning. We loved being back with the kids. And actually, out of the 18 students, 10 of the students were there, and we thought that was a really good show. All but one mentor was there. Rancho Mirage High School kicked off their SMART program online, and they had about like 95% attendance from students, and all the mentors were there. So everybody's off and running, and just thrilled. Kathy, any thoughts?
No, I've been pretty much AWOL this month with the baby living here. Her husband, you know, had back issues, so we've got the baby back here for a while. So I've been being grandmother. So, but I think I'm just thrilled with the $400,000. I think kudos to you for doing that, and beyond just concentrating on, you know, the major goals that we have before us. That, you know, getting the shoe campaign started, if that's an immediate need, you know, and then how quickly people respond to that is very encouraging.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Great. Do you have any other comments? I'd just like to say congratulations to the the foundation on your fundraising efforts and the really positive events. I mean, shoes, as if you've ever been at a school, are always in need. And so I thank you for actually taking up that charge and moving ahead with that. And of course, the SMART program is one that I think that we can probably share with other districts too, because I think it's very positive. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Karen.
Anybody else would like to say anything? Okay, we'll move on to 4B, the district update. Dr. Sweezy.
Thank you. So I will just share with everybody, similar to what I shared at our school board meeting on Tuesday, just some reflections on returning back to instruction after the winter break. And the first thing that I'd like to share is just how impressed I've been and how happy it makes me to see the positive attitudes of our students and staff and families. People are so excited to be back in person in the classroom. Kids are very happy, teachers are happy. We are, of course, dealing with this latest surge, but overall, just the positivity has really been overwhelming. So I've gotten a number of emails and notes from people across the district, and I've heard great stories about how excited students are to be back. As I mentioned, this latest surge, I always do a quick public health update at our board meetings, and I'll do that again today. When we met in December, the case rate, which is the number of cases per 100,000 residents in Riverside County, was 14.9. 14.9. When I used to talk about the case rate being high, it was in the high 30s, 35, 39, and that was really shocking. Well, on Tuesday night at the board meeting, I shared that Riverside County Public Health case rate was 138 per 100,000. So really almost a 10-fold increase from December to January. From Tuesday night's meeting to right now, the daily case rate is 194.6 out of 100,000. So the number of cases in Riverside County are rapidly multiplying, really at a rate unlike I've seen, certainly as the superintendent. Our staff's doing an excellent job of implementing all of those precautionary procedures of masking, frequent hand washing, self-checks at home for kids and for staff before they come to work. We have COVID testing locations at every school site and here at the district office. In fact, last night we kept ours open till 7 p.m. to have some additional testing. And we're even working on trying to put together a Saturday testing availability, just so that we can help all of our families and staff members be tested. We sent home rapid test kits with each student, and those are in great demand right now. So we were happy to be able to provide over 20,000 rapid test kits, and we will be doing that again. So our goal is to do that again this week. We're right now working on making sure we have enough and trying to come up with our plan to get those out to schools tomorrow. So that's a positive. We're working on developing new quarantine procedures. So the Riverside County Public Health updated their guidance on Monday night. And then again, the California guidance was updated last night. So it's constantly changing. And we're working on updating our district quarantine procedures, as are all school districts, because we've received that new guidance. So hopefully that will go into effect next week. We have had some areas where we have some staffing shortages, and we've been able to manage those very well and cover for any absences really without a disruption in services. Some of even our contract employees, for example, the bus company. So we have a contract with the bus company. They've struggled to have enough bus drivers, and many of their managers have been driving buses just to make sure we have enough every day. Even our COVID testing rooms, which are also contract employees, we've had a few staff shortages there. As we can all understand, healthcare workers right now are overtaxed very similar to those in education. It's a tough time right now. So we've had a few shortages there. We've had to close a few sites and direct people to other sites. But overall, as a district, we've been able to really not have any disruption in service. We have had to send some students and some staff home, and that's reported daily on our website on the dashboard. The number is much higher than I'm comfortable seeing, but it's the reality right now. So we're close to 500 total when I last looked last night of students and staff members who are positive for COVID. And so then that creates a whole domino of contact tracing and exclusions and making sure that everybody is safe. The final bit of news I'll share is our school board is looking at new trustee areas because of changes in the 2020 census. And so last night we did 3 webinars, and tonight we also have 3 webinars. Our district website also includes all of our proposed maps of potential new trustee areas and links to English and Spanish presentations and a spot for people to give input. And we've been receiving some input on the website, and I'm really looking forward to getting some more input from community members after those webinars. So that's a quick tour of Palm Springs Unified, not focused specifically on our amazing relationship with the foundation, but just the things that we're working on this week.
Thank you, Dr. Sweezy. Just one question about the webinars. Do you know how many people actually tuned in last night?
We did not have nearly as many people as we wanted. We had a few staff members and community members. And so we're looking forward again tonight to having even more. We're counting the visits to our district website. So when it's all said and done, we'll be able to see how many clicks we have and how many people have visited that way. But last night we didn't have nearly as many people as I had hoped.
Okay. I know I went on today and was clicking all through them again just to make sure I understood each one.
Karen, I just wanted to add that we are going to post one of the webinars after tonight.
Okay, great.
So that people who weren't able to tune in live will be able to access that.
Great. That's a wonderful idea. And so thank you. Thank you for that, Joan. Do we have any other comments?
Karen, I have a question.
Absolutely. Right ahead.
For Mike, and I didn't actually jump on and take a look at the website yet around the trust area. It looks like Desert Hot Springs, a little piece of that is going to fall into North Palm Springs. Is it an area of Desert Hot Springs? I know it's kind of a silly question to ask, that actually has population? Because, from the maps, it's really hard to see. It just really looks like it goes to Dillard Road or Varner Road, and where there's really not a whole lot of, there's not a big population there. I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, the only reason a boundary would move would be to move voting population into another district. So it might not be high density population, but the reason that districts have to do this, and this is taking place all over the state, but the reason districts have to do this is so that no one area is more than 10% either larger or smaller than any other area. So it's just to balance them. So all of those moves do include people, because that's the purpose, is to change the numbers to make sure that all of the areas are roughly equal.
Okay. Any other
Thank you.
questions? Kathy?
I just have one comment. I want to thank Mike and his team for doing such a great job. It seems like they're really being asked to juggle enormous amount of shall we say, fluid situations, and they're handling it so rationally and compassionately. It seems to me that I'm impressed, and I'm thankful that we have that team in charge.
Thank you, Kathy. That's very kind, and especially with the team that's here in this meeting today, our superintendent's office plus Dr. Kovacs, we're very happy that it appears calm.
I would say you always appear calm.
Thank you.
And so does Dr. Kovacs. So that's a good thing. And hopefully the Board of Education appears calm.
Yes,
We're all trying to be calm, and I think because that is what spills over into the district and into the community, and certainly at our school sites. We want all of our administrators at school sites and our teachers and students to be as calm and safe as possible.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you, Kathy, for that. And we'll go on to number 5. Any other comments? Joan, do you have any other comments?
No, I don't. Thank you, Karen. I am though. Yeah, you give me an opportunity, I'll comment.
Okay.
I'll comment that woohoo on the 400,000. That's awesome. Congratulations and great news. And I'm here at this meeting, and I plan to come whenever I can now because I get to hear the updates directly. So it's easy and will help me in communicating the great work that you guys are doing.
Thanks, Joan.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? Oops, did I mute myself? No. Does anybody else have a comment? All right, we'll go ahead to number 6, approval of Board Foundation Subcommittee meeting minutes from the last meeting on December 16th, 2021. If I could have a motion.
So moved.
So moved.
Seconded.
Second. All those in favor, say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The setting of the next Board Foundation Subcommittee meeting is scheduled for February 17th, 2022. Number 8, may we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all very, very much. And if Mike, I could talk to you afterwards?
Absolutely.
Okay, do you want me just to call you?
Well, let's hang out in here.
Oh,